This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 4th day of May in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The chairman of the APNU and opposition leader Aubrey Norton today announced that his party, the APNU, has filed court action to postpone or altogether stop the local government elections, which are scheduled for the 12th of June. He said the party did so amid those allegations of fraud, concerns the party have with the Elections Commission, the current voters list, and other issues. During a press conference this morning, Mr. Norton said lawyers approached the court yesterday with the party's application detailing why the elections should not go ahead under the present circumstances.
We filed yesterday a court action seeking to either postpone or stop the local government elections. As far as I gather from the lawyers, we have a 28 May date fixed for hearing on this matter. So we also have other pending legal action that we will take to deal with this issue. But as it stands, on the question of the manipulation of the boundaries and a number of other issues, we have already filed, and we will continue to file legal action to deal with these issues.
Mr. Norton also said the action by the party was forced by the unwillingness of the Elections Commission to address the concerns raised by the APNU relating to alleged cases of fraud uncovered with several nominations for the upcoming elections. Norton said the Elections Commission cannot outsource its responsibility of ensuring free and fair elections to the court or the police. He believes the Commission must take action to prevent questionable elections.
GCOM, as presently composed, chaired, and mismanaged, does not have the competence, integrity, attitude, foresight, and vision to deliver free, fair, and credible elections in Guyana. Elections that can win the trust and confidence of the Guyanese public and all contesting groups and parties. Fixing the Guyana Elections Commission must begin now.
But even as the party is hoping that the elections will be stopped, it will continue to campaign in areas where it is contesting the elections. The Elections Commission was late last year forced to push back the elections, which were initially slated for the 13th of March. The preparation process was derailed after GCOM was forced to reopen the claims and objections process while dealing with a dispute over the demarcation of constituencies. A legal challenge was mounted by the opposition APNU to contest the manner in which the lists were extracted for those constituencies. The move to the court saw a recommendation from the Chief Election Officer Vishnu Prasad to the GCOM chair for a further period of claims and objections for the various registers. GCOM has since indicated that it is now ready to move ahead with the elections. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say, but now that it's here, it will change life forever, and it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
At Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors. and solid in countries far and wide. New India Assurance, we're standing by your side. Golden service, half a century and more. New India Assurance, our policies are secure. From the heart of India, we serve these islands. The strength that you can trust, you're safe when you come to us.
New India Assurance Company. Assurance when you need it most.
For your home, motor or business insurance, visit New India Guyana office, 58 Brickdam next to Star Computers. Telephone 2260-415-7. Comfortable parking available.
Let's tell you now that the Guyana government has announced that it will be challenging the decision of High Court Judge Samuel Kissoon, who on Wednesday ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to issue an enforcement notice to Esso Exploration and Production Company and its parent company ExxonMobil to ensure it provides unlimited insurance to safeguard Guyana against the devastating effects of an oil spill. The judge, in his ruling, declared that the Environmental Protection Agency breached its statutory duty by failing to enforce compliance by the oil company of its financial assurance obligations to provide an unlimited parent company guarantee agreement and or affiliate company guarantee agreement to indemnify and keep indemnify the EPA and the government against all environmental obligations of the permit holder and co-venturers within the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana. Justice Kissoon also said ExxonMobil engaged in a disingenuous attempt to dilute its obligations under its environmental permit for Liza 1, the project that saw Guyana's oil production in 2019. In a statement today, Attorney General Anand Nandlal said the government is not in agreement with that ruling and will be approaching the Court of Appeal for its pronouncement on the matter. The Attorney General said the EPA and the government of Guyana are of the considered view that the environmental permit imposes no obligation on the permit holder to provide an unlimited parent company guarantee agreement. In this regard, he said, the government holds the view that the learned judge fell into error in his findings. The Attorney General also said the ruling could have profound ramifications and grave economic and other impacts on the public interest and national development. As a result, he said the decision of the judge will be appealed. According to Mr. Nandlal, the Environmental Protection Agency and the oil company spent almost a year negotiating a parent guarantee and indemnify agreement to the tune of $2 billion in liability coverage in compliance with the oil company's financial assurance obligations under the Environmental Permit and the Environmental Protection Act. The negotiations, the Attorney General said, concluded just last week. Though those negotiations and their material details were placed before the court for its consideration, they were all rejected by Justice Kissoon. Let's tell you now that Vice President Bharat Jagdeo today warned that the local judiciary is treading on murky waters as he backed the move by the government to appeal the ruling of the High Court in which it found that the Environmental Protection Agency violated its own regulations and permit when it failed to have the Esso Exploration and Production Company provide an unlimited liability parent company guarantee. Vice President Bharat Jagdeo during a press conference today objected to the ruling.
I think it's treading on murky waters when you start directing a regulatory agency as to how to do its own job and give them a time frame to get it done in. Because you can't supplant yourself and know what the challenges they face in that.
In his ruling, High Court Judge Samuel Kissoon said the Environmental Protection Agency was in an egregious state and abdicated its exclusive statutory responsibilities as outlined in the Environmental Protection Act and Environmental Protection Regulations. The Vice President doesn't find favor with that either.
So our courts have to make predictable decisions. The decisions not in favor, I'm not saying in favor of the government or against the government, but it has to be well reasoned. Our Environmental Protection Agency has to be able to justify professionally everything they do without interference from the politicians.
Jagdeo said there are laws and regulations in place to safeguard Guyana should there be an oil spill, but he maintained that there is nothing like unlimited liability coverage.
Then it speaks about adequate parent company the coverage adequate, not full liability or unlimited, because that's why the Attorney General made the point that there is nowhere in the world a concept like unlimited. How do you take out an unlimited insurance policy? What would be the premium? If I say $1 billion, unlimited doesn't define a number, because then the number determines the premium. So there's nothing called like that in the world of insurance.
According to the Vice President, Guyana is now playing in the big league and should therefore act appropriately. Weeks after the High Court ruled that President Irfan Ali's suspension of the chairman and members of the Police Service Commission back in 2021 was unconstitutional and unlawful, the government, through the Attorney General, has moved to the Court of Appeal, asking for the entire decision to be set aside. In ruling in favor of Paul Slow, who was chairman of the PSC at the time of the suspension, Justice Gino Prasad said that in the absence of a Judicial Service Commission and the tribunal, the president had no authority to suspend the chairman and other members of the Police Service Commission. The judge ruled that President Irfan Ali breached the Constitution when he failed to appoint a tribunal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission to address the issue of the removal of Mr. Slow and his fellow commissioners from the Police Service Commission. In the appeal filed by the Attorney General Anil Nandlal said the judge erred when he ruled that the expired Police Service Commission could lawfully continue to maintain legal proceedings before the court. The Attorney General also said that the judge also erred when he ruled that the president's action was in breach of the Constitution, and also made a mistake in his ruling when he determined that the appointment of a tribunal pursuant to the Constitution was a condition precedent to the president's power to suspend the former members of the Police Service Commission. The Attorney General appears to have an issue with the entire ruling of the High Court. His request to the court is to have a total strikeout of the High Court's ruling, and also petition the court for Mr. Slow to stand the legal costs associated with the case. In June of 2021, President Irfan Ali suspended the then chairman of the Police Service Commission, Paul Slow, and the other members of the commission, based on the advice of Prime Minister Mark Phillips. In handing down the suspension, the president sought to activate the doctrine of necessity on the basis that at the time the Judicial Service Commission was not duly constituted and therefore could not advise on the establishment of a tribunal. There is still no Judicial Service Commission, and the trial judge dismissed the excuse of the doctrine of necessity.
Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother's 6 on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th at the National Cultural Center. Beverly Smith, Mosa Telford, Leona Walton, Paul Budna, Nikhil Sankar, and others. Compliments of Halo City, Munishwars, Elsie Pasad Muraj and Sons, Sunflower Jewelry, Kissun's Furniture Store, Survivor Shopping Complex, NDNS Furniture Store, 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets $25 and $2,000. Directed by Simone Dowling.
An international arrest warrant has been issued for the Guyanese couple wanted for the murder of Guyana police officer Quincy Lewis. The two suspects, Turkidial Samaru and his wife, Nakiba Zahid Zafarali, are believed to be hiding out in the U.S. This week, International Criminal Police Organization Interpol issued the red notice arrest warrants for the pair. The suspected remains of the police officer were found 2 weeks ago in a shallow grave at Maduini along the Linden-Suslike Highway. He was last seen alive on the 19th of June 2020. Two other persons who were suspected of playing a role in his murder and burial were recently charged and remanded to jail for the crime. It was based on statements obtained from those two that the police gathered enough information about the husband and wife masterminds. The policeman, who was known to the wife according to reports, is believed to have been lured to a house on the east bank of the Demerara on the 19th of June in 2020, where he was shot dead. Investigators suspect that his body was later removed and taken to a sandpit area at Madwini along the highway, where it was buried. It was at Madwini that the police discovered those skeletal remains recently. The policeman Quincy Lewis was last seen leaving his home and boarding a car on his way to work. There were also reports at the time of his disappearance that he was spotted heading into the Greenfield area on the east bank of Demerara. After he was reported missing by his family, his mobile phone was traced to a location at Temeri. However, the phone was found badly damaged. A Brazilian national who was arrested and charged in February for illegally operating and landing a helicopter in Guyana has changed his plea from not guilty to guilty and has now been fined $5.5 million and sentenced to 48 months in jail. The man, Alexander Felix Plan, appeared in court on Wednesday for the continuation of the hearing and opted then to change his plea. He was represented by attorney-at-law Javon Cox. On the 20th of February, the foreign pilot was arrested by members of the Guyana Defense Force in Region 9. A gold miner who was his passenger was also arrested. At the time of the arrest, the GDF also found several cell phones, mining equipment, and other items in the helicopter. All of those items and the helicopter were confiscated. In addition to the illegal operation of a helicopter charge, the Brazilian also pleaded guilty to several other charges, including failure to present himself to an immigration officer. In the past year, press freedom in Guyana has worsened, and that has resulted in the country dropping 26 places on the Press Freedom Index compiled by the international group Reporters Without Borders. The report with the rankings was released on World Press Freedom Day, which was observed on Wednesday. The report assesses press freedom in 180 countries and territories. On Guyana, Reporters Without Borders condemned the harassment and intimidation of journalists in Guyana through online targeting and disrespect from the administration. The international media organization called on the Guyana government to reform its practices to give proper access to public information, adding that members of the press should be respected and free from scare tactics in their jobs, especially in a signatory country of the Media Freedom Coalition. The Guyana Press Association has complained about the harassment and targeting of journalists by online blogs and social media pages linked to key players in the government. The association has called out both the government and the opposition over their treatment of media workers in the country. Just recently, the opposition was forced to apologize to a media worker after one of its officials went on a profanity-laced tirade against a reporter during a telephone call. For its part, the government of Guyana has said that it respects the work of journalists. The GPA has accused the government of making attempts to take over the Press Association and also attempting to form a parallel media organization. Minister within the Ministry for Public Information and Affairs, Kwame McCoy, while denying any plan to take over the Press Association, said he sees nothing wrong with multiple organizations being formed to serve the same purpose. Financial news to report now. Republic Bank has announced that the group has raked in $117.8 million in half-year profits for the period which ended the 31st of March. The half-year profits represent a 7.96% increase when compared to the corresponding period last year. According to the bank, the period was a solid one for Republic Financial Holdings, the parent group. It was explained that throughout those 6 months, all group subsidiaries recorded improved growth in their loans and investment portfolios, fueled by increases in customer deposits. Republic Bank said that as a result of the growth, its subsidiaries recorded increases in net interest income, enhanced in part by the impact of the rising interest rate environment on US dollar denominated securities in the Cayman Islands and British Virgin Islands operations. The group also announced that non-interest income has also been boosted by increased activity in its tourism-based subsidiaries, following the ongoing recovery of tourism in many islands.
Purple Arts Productions presents A Treat for My Mother 6 on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 14th. Herbie Marshall on strings, Sean Bullock, Bunny Hobbs, Ronald Green, Mark Hall, and others. Fashion track by Chic and Curvy Fashions at the National Cultural Center, 8 p.m. sharp. Tickets $2,000 and $2,500. Compliments of Kalo City Noodle Cake Creations. Safe Security Systems. Directed by Simone Dowling.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight in Jamaica, the Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has announced that the Criminal Records Board has approved 1,200 applications from more than 2,000 people seeking to have their criminal records expunged. He told the National Assembly that 2,322 applications were received last year. The Justice Minister in Jamaica also told legislators that improvements have been realized from the Criminal Records Office over the last few months, and that the expungement of criminal records continues to be one of the most demanded services offered by the Ministry of Justice. He said following Cabinet's deliberation, it is hoped that a bill will be brought to the National Assembly to widen the categories or to ensure that persons who have been rehabilitated can get their matters expunged. Belize has announced that it has met the International Court of Justice's deadline to file memorial in the dispute with Honduras over the sovereignty of the Zapadilla Cay. The memorial was handed over to the International Court in The Hague. Belize's memorial makes a vigorous defense of Belize's sovereignty over the area. The memorial wants the court to adjudge and declare that as between Belize and Honduras, Belize is sovereign over the area and that Honduras does not have any valid claim to the area known as Zapadilla Cays. Honduras has until the 4th of December to submit its counter memorial. Last November, Belize filed an application with the International Court in a bid to resolve its long-standing dispute with Honduras. And finally tonight, international news. The BBC reports that the UN's top aid official has warned that the will to end the fight still was not there after speaking to Sudan's rival military leaders. The official told the BBC that Sudan's descent into violence was now at a dangerous tipping point. He called for security guarantees from the warring sides to allow humanitarian aid into the country. The UN has warned that the fighting could force hundreds of thousands of Sudanese to flee their homes. Evacuation ships have been arriving daily in Sudan to carry foreigners and Sudanese out of the country. Many more are expected in the coming days. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.